you know what, I don't really need that. I don't really, it's not that bad. You know, these, you know, okay, yeah, I see those shoes, but these shoes are okay. I can ride these out. How about I set a goal for, you know, I'm going to, you know, do this and then I'll get the shoes. Like one of the things I love about Mr. Rise is that he always sets goals. So it was a thing where we were looking at different computer electronics and it's not it never was the point of, do you have the money to get it or not? It was the point of going through the exercise of setting a goal. Once I get this, then I'll buy that. And that type of thing, what that does is that it keeps you accountable. You say, well, I'm gonna set this target. Once I do this, I'll get that. And when you do that, you create a situation where you become the type of person where now you're focused, now you're disciplined, and you exercise that because this society wants you to be impulsive. You don't have discipline. You just go for it. So one of the most difficult things for people to do is to learn how to become teachable, learn how to deal with that discipline fiscally. You know, if you look at, you know, one of the things that, you know, it's one catchphrase that I heard, and I can't remember where I heard it from, but it really encapsulated the impulsive nature of our consumer culture, which is what? When you got it, you spend it, and when you don't got it, you borrow it. Mm-hmm. That encapsulates really the nature of this consumer culture, because people wind up, the money they got is gone as soon as they get it. Then when they don't get it, boom, they go into getting loans and credit cards and everything else. And that's how they bury themselves financially, so much so where they wind up being leveraged to the hilt and they wonder why I can't get ahead. I want to get ahead, but I can't. And it's the issue is that the system is not designed for you to make it. If you play their game, they will keep you poor. And then you wonder, well, I ain't never got it. Well, yeah, because you going with the plan. The game plan is to keep you poor. So what you have to do is say, I'm going to disconnect. And that's what I love about this organization, because the information that we're giving you financial literacy. When you understand financial literacy, you're learning from people who are successful financially, who said, okay, I see what's happening here. How can I escape the system? How can I unplug from that? How can I not follow just like a, you know, they say any weak fish can swim with the current, but you want to be the salmon that flows against it. How do you become that person? And that becomes with you being disciplined enough to read the books, right? You want to make sure that when the functions and things like that have to happen, you want to make certain priorities in your life. You have to make your goal, or your dream, whatever that is, a priority. Most people have different priorities. So what happens is that, I always say, you know, when you can kind of tell, even sometimes in a dynamic of relationships, and relationships are never really easy, but if there's a tie, who wins? And you have to ask yourself, so when you look at your life, if there's a tie in priorities, which priority wins? And that's how you have to look at it when it comes to eating that frog. When there's two things that I have to choose from. When I have this function here where I'm doing whatever, and I have this function here where I'm doing something for my future, I'm investing in myself, which one is going to win? And then you say, well, whichever one I allow to win, does that get me forward and closer towards my goals for options, or does it not? Right? So for me, I always made that decision to say, I'm going to do what's going to get me closer to my dream, which means that I focused on business in such a way that, you know, for a while, I didn't know what balance was, to be honest with you. So I had to learn what that was. I had to learn how to be balanced. And I'm not going to say that I'm the greatest at it. You know, I'm still learning, you know, and my wife has been extremely patient in dealing with me while I'm learning how to do that, you know, which is incredible. I have an incredible wife, you know, to be honest with you. She's a lovely young lady. But when it comes to focusing on what we want to get accomplished in this business, and for you as an individual, when you're looking at what you want to get done, you have to say, what are my goals? And you have to be crystal clear about it. What type of life do I want? And you have to be crystal clear about it. And you have to be disciplined enough to take notes. You have to be disciplined enough to review those notes. You have to be disciplined enough to listen to the CDs. You have to be disciplined enough to make these things a priority, so much so that it becomes a habit. They always say it takes 21 days to form a habit. So you want to do these things repetitively so that it begins to penetrate your subconscious mind, so that you can begin to undo the things that you've been taught to do. Because most of the stuff we've been taught, to be honest, is just garbage. It takes you some time to really sit back and think about it, though. Like, I was just sitting back thinking about it, you know, just the slogans. I threw out 3 slogans. I was sitting back, just took some time to just reflect on it for a second. You know, just do it, obey your thirst, and have it your way. You know, all those things are like little kids. A little kid wants to, when they see some candy, they can't control themselves. I see that, I want the candy, and they get to screaming, throwing a tantrum, doing all types of crazy stuff so they get that piece of candy. I want it, right? Some adults are just the same way. When they see something, I gotta have it now, and they start throwing tantrums, throwing fits, because they don't have the financial discipline to say, no, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna submit to this immediate and this instant gratification. I have to wait. And some people say, well, how long do I have to wait? I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting. I don't want to wait. You've been talking wait. I don't want to wait. Okay, well, you know, how bad do you want what you say you want? Because that's when you say, I have no limit. What limit do you have, you know, for your freedom? What's the limit? Because I always tell people, whatever that limit is going to be just beyond that limit to get what you want. Because that's the nature of things. I don't know why it happens that way. I don't know why, but it does. We've read several books. I remember one of the books I read, I think it was in Think and Grow Rich, where he was talking about a guy who was digging for gold or something like that, and he stopped like 3 feet away from gold. He stopped, he just got, I'm tired of digging it. I'm tired of this, man. I'm just going to go head on. I'm going back home, pack it up. Then I think it was like close to one of the largest gold reserves that he stopped just short of because he was tired of it. He was tired of waiting. He was tired. He had gotten what they call weary and well doing. He was just tired of it, and he gave up. The thing about it, you can't get tired. You don't have the luxury. When you say you want to be a dreamer, when you say you want to be the wealthiest person in your family, when you say that poverty stops with you and you want to reverse all those things, you want to become something that, you know, your family's going to put pictures on the wall of you when you die and say they did it right. You can't afford the same luxuries as most other people, to be honest. I'm sorry. It's just not, you know, it's not going to be that way. We have an incredible vehicle. You know, when you look at, you know, Mr. Rise always says when you compare, you know, the Ferrari to the Chevette, we have the Ferrari, we have an incredible vehicle, but it's going to take work for that. Don't confuse simplicity with easy. Building the business is simple, but it's not easy. The difficulty comes with you overcoming yourself, right? It's kind of like, you know, when you look at certain things and you say, man, I want to accomplish anything that, you know, take New Year's resolution as an example. It's August now. What stopped people from accomplishing their New Year's resolutions? Nothing but themselves. They gave it up like, well, you know, when those two priorities met, like, do I want this, what I said I wanted, or this other thing right here? The other thing won. Right? So I always say, allow the strong you to win versus the weak you. That's how you become accountable. You become accountable doing that uncomfortable thing so much so that it becomes comfortable. How do you know if one of the biggest exercises, and this is something that we used to have to do, is that a lot of times our conferences and things like that would stretch on. I mean, we would travel out of state, we would do all types of things. And it was almost like an exercise in human behavior to see who wanted it the most. Because you would say if a person, you know, all you had to do was stay up a little bit. This is one day. So you got to stay up a few extra hours one day out of your life. Is it really that serious? You're going to huff and puff and act crazy off of one day? To me, it was, you know, you just don't want what you say you want that bad. Because this is simple. I'm not asking you to do anything illegal, unethical, or immoral. It's just stay up a little bit. Be a little bit uncomfortable to learn some information that's valuable that'll help move you forward in this new business venture that you've gotten yourself involved in. That's all that's about. I think that people have to learn to stop being so spoiled. You know, it's like we want everything so easy, but it's not going to be easy. So when it comes to being accountable, when it comes to being teachable, just be willing to be open. Be humble enough to listen and say, hey, I don't know everything. I'm in a situation where I'm fresh, I'm new. Or if you're not fresh and new, make your mind fresh and new. Say, I'm gonna renew my mind. I'm gonna take myself down as if I know nothing and go for it. Because you need that hunger, like Rocky chasing the chickens. At a certain point, Rocky had gotten too haughty where he was like, man, I got this. He was training all his pretty equipment and all that stuff, right? In the movie Rocky. Some people, you know, sometimes you got to make references. People don't, Rocky, I never seen Rocky. You never seen Rocky, somewhere you from. Like some people, in certain movies that you take for granted, right? Like certain people, like, you know, as you start to get older, like I'm 31 now, like, and I'm not super old, but I feel old because like the stuff people are into now, I'm just like, I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like I just literally don't get it legitimately. I have no idea like why some of this stuff is cool. You know, they don't even speak English. Like in certain raps, like I used to love rap. Then you got these guys, they don't even speak English no more. They be saying word, I'm like, is that even a full sentence? What is that? I'm like, you know, you've dumbed your audience down that much where they can, it's unbelievable. It's incredible to me, you know, but that's a whole nother story. So anyway, so I feel like I'm getting old, but but anyway, the important part is, the important part is this, is define what you want in this life, because life is short.